Welcome to The Critique. We're looking at an analysis of the Eugenia Cooney Discord allegations, focusing on misconduct reports and her alleged lack of intervention. Let's dive straight in. First off, streamlining the chronological narrative for maximum impact is really key here.
Yeah.
Because the way it currently jumps between 2025, 2018, and 2020, well, it risks confusing people.
Right. I get the idea. Trying to link the old stuff to what's happening now with the lawsuit and TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But the execution, it feels more like whiplash. You know, you mentioned Fancakes in 2025, then bam, we're in 2020, then back to 2018 DMs.
It's just very fragment. And keeping track of who's who, Stephen Ango, Ariel, Ravencroft, Fancakes right at the start, it's asking a lot.
It really is. You lose momentum if the listener has to pause and think, okay, wait, which year was that complaint and how does Fancakes' 2018 message connect?
So the suggestion?
Well, it's about creating a dedicated section, maybe call it an archive segment, just for that 2018 to 2020 period. Let that evidence build up, step by step.
Okay, so use the 2025 stuff, the Evangelina Scovagata video, the TikToks as the hook, the reason we're looking back?
Exactly. Grab them with the now, then pivot.
And in that archive part?
Use Fancakes as the anchor. Start with her 2018 message, I'm being stalked. She was 14 then, right?
Yeah.
Then move chronologically through the Moderator stuff from 2020, including the whole registered offender reveal.
And finish that section with Cooney's own response, the twisting things around bit.
Right, because if you lay it out linearly like that.
The connection, the really shocking one.
That the moderator complaining Cooney didn't ban the stalker was also the registered offender.
Precisely.
That lands with so much more weight. It becomes undeniable.
It shows the negligence wasn't just isolated incident, but sort of
systemic, built over time.
Yeah, the current structure kind of buries that powerful point in all the time.
Okay, makes sense. Structure it for impact. Now moving on. Analytically, there's room to bolster the objective assessment of counterclaims.
This is about strengthening the investigation's credibility, I think.
Yeah, because when Cooney says things like, I honestly had no idea, or I was extremely unaware.
The analysis sometimes just says, I struggle to believe that. Or, it feels like she was lied.
Which, look, is understandable. The evidence presented is pretty damning.
Totally. But leaning on personal disbelief, it weakens that objective investigative tone you've built elsewhere. It makes it feel a bit more subjective.
Right. Is the suggestion then to sort of let the facts argue for themselves more directly?
Exactly that. Replace the subjective doubt with objective analysis. Structure it so Cooney's claim is immediately followed by the specific evidence that contradicts it. Juxtapose them.
So concretely, she says unaware.
And you immediately show the screenshots. Not just one moderator, but multiple mods, like Ravencroft complaining directly to her or about her, protecting people.
Highlighting that specific quote, she was always very insistent on, don't ban these people because they're nice to me.
Yes, that's the policy failure. That quote is the counter-argument much stronger than just saying, I don't believe her.
And it's important to show this wasn't just a 2020 thing, right?
Absolutely. Her defense often seems to be, that was years ago.
But you have that 2022 stream clip analysis.
Right, where she's defending Ariel or Harley Quinn Ivy. Use that to show the pattern continued well after the discord was supposedly dealt with. It directly refutes the it's old news defense with newer evidence.
Okay, so it's about systematically using the evidence to dismantle the claim, keeping it sharp and focused. Less personal reaction, more factual contradiction.
Precisely. Let the receipts do the talking.
Got it. Okay, final major point. You've done meticulous work establishing the history, but we need to really drive home the significance. It's about sharpening the so what for the current legal context.
Yeah, what does all this history mean right now, especially with that lawsuit in the background?
The conclusion currently states she was grossly irresponsible and has a history of putting people in danger, which, based on the evidence, seems accurate.
It's accurate, but it feels a bit general. It doesn't quite connect back strongly enough to the legal or platform responsibility angle that the intro sort of hints at.
So the weakness is maybe a missed opportunity to tie the detailed history directly to the present-day stakes.
I think so. The suggestion is to zero in on the operational and maybe even financial reasons behind the failures shown in the evidence.
How so?
Frame them less as just bad personal judgments and more as systemic policy failures, things directly relevant to platform liability, which is what the lawsuit is likely exploring.
Okay, like that allegation about moderators not being allowed to ban people?
Yeah, elevate that. Frame it as a potential failure of due diligence, possibly driven by financial incentives. That links negligence directly to platform operations and, potentially, profit.
That definitely has more teeth in a legal context.
And emphasize the finding about the registered offender mod, his record being very public, him not hiding his identity.
Argue that represents a failure of basic safety protocols, the kind you'd expect from any creator with a young audience.
Exactly. It shifts from she made a mistake to there was a systemic failure in basic safety checks. That's a different level of critique.
And what about that 2018 DM to Fancakes, the reported to the authorities message?
Frame that specifically as documented abdication of responsibility. Not just a cold message, but an example of her pushing responsibility for safety within her community onto external bodies, even when alerted directly by a minor. It establishes a pattern relevant to creator duty.
Okay, I see. It's about connecting the dots explicitly between the past failures and the current standards and legal questions about creator responsibility.
Right, making the so what really sharp and relevant to 2025.
This is incredibly strong research. Just needs these refinements to really maximize its impact. Let's recap the main take.
Okay, first, fix the timeline. Use 2025 as the frame, but dedicate a clear linear segment to the 2018 to 2020 history, letting the evidence build properly. Use Fancakes as that thread.
Second, strengthen the analysis of counterclaim. Ditch the subjective disbelief and instead systematically pair Cooney's statements directly against your documented evidence. Let the facts refute the claim.
And finally, sharpen that so what. Connect the historical negligence directly to the current legal context by focusing on systemic policy failures, the financial angle, the lack of basic safety protocols, the abdication of responsibility. Make it clear why this history matters now.
You absolutely have the material here for a definitive piece. We really encourage you to incorporate these suggestions, focusing on that structure and analytical framing, and please send the revised version back for another look.